vision is your vice. I can taste it on your lips, that sweet cherry red. Oh, 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 I tell me to stay away. You're dangerous at play and quick to turn and run.
In my mind, never face the day. But if there's a girl who can change my world, it's you.
Next up on SOULVERSATIONS, we have my man, multi-talented Zoe. A prolific producer and part of the Foreign Exchange family, he has toured and featured with some of SOULVERSATIONS alums like Cy Smith and Deborah Bond, but also with Joy, Carmen Rogers, Fonte, the list goes on and on. You'll hear all about it on the couch with performances by a very special guest, Tamara Wellens. Zoe's up next. I'm Russell Taylor. SOULVERSATIONS, baby. Let's go. What's up? I'm Russell Taylor, and welcome to this episode of SOULVERSATIONS, where I have my very good friend and incredible musician, my brother Zoe. Welcome to the SOULVERSATION couch, brother.
Thank you, man. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, man. So listen, I know a couple of records that you have, at least one record that you put out recently that I love, but I want you to tell the people about it. What's up? Talk to us.
Most recently, man, I did a collaborative album with my man, Tall Black Guy. Tall Black Guy is another producer. We're in the same lane. We're from the same area.
He's from Detroit, too.
Both from Detroit, yeah. So it's wild because, we didn't know each other when we lived in Detroit. Ended up, collaborating much later on, as recent as 2 years ago, not even, and, put out this record that just, kind of even blew us away.
Smells just like Detroit, too.
Hey, man.
So how would you say that Detroit, and shout out, what's the name of that record? What's the title?
It's called Abstractions.
There we go. Abstractions available on all of your platforms where you access music.
Yes, indeed.
So with that sound, though, can you talk to me about the Detroit sound? What's special about Detroit sound?
Detroit has like a base of grit. It's an old city. It's a very cultured city. It's a rich city. It's a black city. So everything that we put out.
Hold on, pause. It's a what city? Black?
It's a black city.
Blackity, black
black
city. Okay, yes. I just wanted to underscore that.
Absolutely. So everything we put out highlights all of that. Underneath that grit, you still got the harmonies. You still got the prettiness. You still got the architecture. You still.
The architecture's killing. Yeah, man.
So you got we'll have like the hard drums, but then we're playing pretty chords over top of it, and that's what makes it Detroit to me anyway. So,
you got house music, also Detroit, and then
techno music.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Techno
the raves in Detroit. Back in the day, I heard about a couple of those, and Motown. How can you forget Motown?
Yeah.
So we know that I know, and the people are learning about so you got the Detroit Foundation, but you've been in D.C. for some time as well.
Yep, I moved to Silver Spring in 2006. Matter of fact, ironically, it was the day Dilla passed. So February 10th, 2006, I moved to Silver Spring, so I've been here a little over 15 years.
So you from D.C. now, too.
Right.
Which is why you are here, brother. So
absolutely.
How has D.C. culture and D.C. sound, do you feel that has influenced you in any way?
100%. Because I think coming out this way, I was able to see a working musician, like someone who just works and lives strictly off of, playing gigs, which, at that time in 06 and 05 and 04, like I wasn't really seeing that. A lot of our musicians, we were gigging, but a lot of us still had day jobs.
Yeah.
I come out here and I'm like, oh, y'all just living off of the music. So for me in the studio, what that made me do was focus on how my studio work would translate live. And I think that's a huge way DC has influenced my music. Like, when I'm going out in the studio, I'm not just concentrating on what it sounds like coming out the monitors. I'm concentrating on what it sounds like as a live presentation.
So Zoe, today you are performing with another one of our DMV artists, Miss Tamara Wellens, who is, shout out Tamara, who is also a bona fide indie artist. She has a really wonderful heritage-based project about family in Virginia, being a child of the South. You should check it out if you can. But she's featuring with you today on stage, and yeah, man, we're looking forward to this performance.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Like I've always been a fan of her. She's a great person, wonderful energy, beautiful family. Shout out to Kennard.
Great vocalist, all of that.
Excellent vocals, like big voice. Like I think that her voice mixes well with what I do. And this is the first time that we've been on stage together as far as with my music.
Okay.
I've played keys on her sets before, but she hasn't sung on mine. So
this is great.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a fun one, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man.
And the dawn meets me again.
So Zoe, I wanted to talk to you about your musical DNA. If you could describe what makes you the artist that you are, what would that be?
It came directly from my parents. My father was a guitarist. He played guitar. He was a physician. He was a doctor, but he was a guitarist first. My mother played piano in church. So, you know, music was in the house. The difference between, I think, my upbringing and a lot of our folks' upbringing was, you know, a lot of times when we grow up, our parents wouldn't let us touch that record collection. My parents let me go all through the record collection. So as a kid, you know, and like my record collection now is based off of theirs. Like that's my foundation. I took all those records. So now, even now, when you look at like old Funkadelic records, you'll see old child scribblings on the stuff, because you know they would just allow me to play, you know, play records as long as I wasn't, you know, imitating the DJs and all that.
Right, talking trash.
Yeah,
right?
don't be scratching on my records, like you know, that type of thing. But you know, as long as I was just, you know, taking it and carefully placing it on there, putting the needle, like I could play whatever I wanted, except like Richard Pryor and Red Fox records, which I would sneak off and
Right, we all did with those. But my first record, it's funny you said Funkadelic. My very first record that I owned was bought for me was a Funkadelic record.
Yep.
And I will never forget.
The artwork was crazy.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I saw the artwork and I begged for it. And my parents are like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
They had whole comic strips in the joint. Like
That's
you open it up
exactly
and
it.
it's a whole joint, you know, with them referencing the songs and, you know, Sir Nose and, you know, all this, the mothership. Like it's all kinds of crazy stuff.
It was that magical thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when both of your parents were musicians, did the piano as your weapon of choice? Did you learn? Can you play any other instruments, or
Yeah.
you ever try singing?
You know what?
Oh, come on, Zell, let it out.
I be in key. I be in key. I just don't, you know, I'm not confident in it.
Okay.
I'm not confident in it to where I'm just bringing it out and, you know, that type of thing. I think there's going to be a time where I'm, you know, at least doing backs. You know
I
what I'm
feel
saying?
like as well as you play, you have to have an ear enough to sing.
Right.
Even just one of those chants.
Yeah. Like I have ideas.
Uh-huh.
I'm just not confident enough to bring it out there yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
I think eventually it'll come.
Okay, so that means that all you good people out there, we're going to have to convince him. You can Twitter bomb him, everything, to get him to start singing on some of these records.
Yeah, now it'll come, because like even when me and Carmen would tour, like I would do
Carmen Rogers.
I would do the hook on A Season, which was on Skybreak. So, you know, that was kind of shaky for me at first, but like, you know, after a while, you know, I was like, hey, you know, that's my hook right now.
Right. I came to a show where you sang, and I was like, oh, okay, brother.
Yeah.
So now I know that you want to do it, and I'm going to keep encouraging you to do so.
But yeah, outside of piano, I started with piano young. I was maybe 5 or 6. Moved on to bass, which is my secondary. So like all the stuff you hear, We on the Move, Just What You Like that's me. Some guitar, like I always say, I'm a studio gangster guitarist, and some drums. Like drums is guitar is the only one that I haven't gigged on. Drums I've played a gig on, bass I've gigged on, and piano of course. So
you
4.
like a one-man band, in other words.
Yeah, and I had to be in the beginning because I was like, I got all these ideas that I want to lay down, but I ain't got no money to pay nobody. So
Indie, shout out all indie musicians, indie artists. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
So I literally, you know, at 27, 26 years old, went to Guitar Center, bought a bass, and started fiddling with it and learned it. Went, got a drum set, started playing on it, learned some of that. You know what I mean? And then after moving to D.C., I was working at a school where I was teaching music with my man Asheru. Shout out to Ash.
Shout out Asheru, DC.
Shout out my man Omar Hunter.
Shout out Omar.
Who was my my co-teacher. So we taught in the classroom. But when we taught all the instruments. So me and Omar would play all the instruments in there and would be teaching it. And that was like a huge training ground, crash course for me to just get better on instruments.
I think that's really important to say as well, because you moved to Washington, D.C. in 05, 06, and then you became a working gigging musician, but also part of that was being an educator. Right. So you had, even though it was technically a day job, you were still doing music. Exactly. And you were also teaching yourself. Right. That's an indie hustle, baby. That's an indie hustle.
And it's dope too, because now, you know, 10, 15 some odd years later, I still keep in touch with a couple of the students. A couple of them they're still playing. I know one plays drums in church, and another one plays, you know, keys for a couple of bands. He's like, yo, you know, you the reason why I was playing keys, and you know, I'm getting goosebumps telling the story. And you know, he put up a post one time, like really propping me up. I was like, yo, man, you about to have my grown ass crying up in this mug.
I love it. Because, you know, that gets to one very important part I recognize in you, brother, and, you know, and some of our fellow artists, is that part of being a good musician, part of being having Soulversation with music talking, is the intention of service. There is a service in it. Right. You know, where you are giving to universe, to spirit, and you receive as well from audience and so forth. Right. So I love that.
Yeah, there's no reason to take what I have and what you have to the grave with us without giving it and passing it along. Like that's part of, our legacy.
I'm about to shower.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir.
So, black man. I wanted to talk to you. We're still kind of in the middle of the world after pandemic, or in the midst of, and I wanted to talk to you about how did you take care of self?
You know, it was interesting because in the beginning of the pandemic, I wasn't. You know, at that point, we saw all live shows cut off. We saw all work, you know, just a work stoppage. And it was just like, okay, what do I do? Because these bills ain't stopping.
No.
And at that point, it was just like, okay, I'm about to drink. Okay, I'm about to eat whatever. Okay, it's about to be.
And you can cook too.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly, exactly. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, man, whatever. Like,
yeah,
because you know, I'm, you know, at age 43 or 42 or 41 back then, it's like, you know, as adults, we just want to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like at a certain point in your life, when you just realize, like, yo, man, I just want to be happy through this thing. And so that's what I was doing to keep myself happy. But after going to the doctor, but after going to the doctor and seeing the damage you had done, it was like, okay, I need to 180 this thing. And so what I ended up doing was just cold turkey. Just, you know, I had to flip my whole diet, start cooking more for myself, start cooking more plant-based, going on walks. That was one of my big things, because walks for me, that's me time. And you go on a walk, I throw on a podcast, I turn my ringer off. So it's just like, you know, an hour and a half. You know, I'm getting 4 to 6 miles in. So for myself, but I'm also cutting myself off for a second, where I just, you know, it's just me.
Reset, meditation.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's super important because, you know, as horrible as this pandemic is, it did allow me to sit down and pause. Whereas if this pandemic didn't happen, I still would have been doing the same thing. Yeah. And that wouldn't have been good. So, you know, I call it a life audit.
Word.
You get to sit down, you really get to look at yourself in the mirror, and, you know, you start to clean up.
I like that, life audit. I think a lot of us did. Now, we may not have come to the same healthy process of getting there, but I think a lot of us were forced, particularly musicians, we were forced to be like, okay, what is this all about? Why am I in this? And how do I take care of myself? Because when you're always on the run, it's very, you know, you're tired, but you push through because this is your living. You know?
Right. So, and you're not thinking about it because that's your norm.
Right.
And then when you have a new norm to where it's just like, okay, well, this is resetting, let me reset also.
And I don't know if this was the same for you, but for me, I realized I'm not missing anything. Like, I mean, when the world opens up, I get back to work, but if I'm shut down and take care of myself, I'm not missing anything. I think that's important for people in the arts, in the creative space, for us to pay attention to.
And to be honest with you, I wasn't missing touring for a little while.
Actually, neither was I.
Because, you know, touring beats you up.
It does. And you eat like crap.
Yep.
You don't sleep.
Yep.
And you stressed out.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're indie, because you're running 17 different things. So yeah, I feel good. I'm ready to go though.
Yeah, no, it's time now.
Right.
But in 2020? Most of 2020, I was like, I'm cool. I'm gonna find a different way to do this.
Speaking of which, you got some stuff coming up, right? In 2022, we can be looking for you.
Yeah. So we're me and Tall Black Guy will be starting a tour. We're starting to get some.
And I heard you got a new set too. Like because he's a DJ, right?
Yeah.
So
you know, it's a different. Like the 3 shows that we've done already has basically been 2-man shows, and we've had Deborah Bond.
Shout out to Deborah.
Shout out to Deborah, who was I love Deborah, man. And she, you know, she's such a performer. So she's, you know, out front. So, you know, I'm going back and forth between keys and bass. And Tall Black is he's on Ableton. So he's manipulating the show. Everything is live. So he's adding stuff, taking stuff away. Man. And it's really crazy because, like, I don't think a lot of the crowd understands that. But it's like, you know, we on stage like bugging out, and the crowd's looking like trying to figure out what's going on because it's, you know, it's not really a conventional show.
Right.
So when we go out next year, I think we're gonna, we may enhance some things here and there.
I love it, and it's something different for you as well.
Absolutely.
And isn't that the goal? Keep innovating,
100%.
keep challenging, changing.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Because why come out of the pandemic doing the same thing you was doing before? You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody is actually.
Yeah.
Well, I have another question for you. What is, let's say, we fast forward to 2055, 2060, where you'll only be 52, of course,
Right. Right.
And you're sitting with your grandkids and you're talking about life and you're explaining what your legacy is with pride. What does that look like for Zoe?
A couple things. I want them to know that I did it my way, number one. Number two, I want them to know that whatever I put my hands on was dope.
Hey, you better speak the life. Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime that I release some music, and that's always been my goal, just, from when I started releasing music. Like, I wanted to make sure that if my name is on there, particularly if it's on the cover, you don't have to listen to it first. Like, you already know what it is. You can buy it, and you can tell your friends about it, tell them to buy it, and, you in good hands.
Oh, man, that's solid. I love it. Brother Zoe, thank you so much for hanging out with SOULVERSATIONS on the
it's
couch.
been a pleasure, man.
Man, this show, this lineup, these tunes. I
You got some
appreciate
killers
you.
on here, bro.
Man, I appreciate you. Stay tuned, SOULVERSATIONS, for Zoe's performance. He is one amazing artist. Stay tuned. SOULVERSATIONS, I'm Russell Taylor. Let's go.
lovely Miss Tamara Wellens.